Welcome to Black, Red, and Blue. I'm AJ, and joined with me, as always, is Steve. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Well, we're here, and we watched another thing happen last night.
Yeah, a thing happened. That's about the best we can say about this game, right? Hey, in all seriousness, there were some positive points, so we can't get up in arms yet. I think the shocking thing for this game was, drumroll please, is the lineup.
Yeah.
This definitely was a City 2 type of lineup. In the midfield, you had our starters, and everyone around them was either people that don't normally play that position, or they were the City 2 kind of guys.
Yeah. Very, very highly rotated. I remember whenever I saw the lineup come by, I immediately sent it to you because I was like, what is this? And it didn't really make sense at first. And I think the major change, what everyone noticed at very first when I shared this on Facebook, was one person in particular. And which guy was that? It may off the tip of my tongue. I don't remember what position was everyone was worried about. I don't know, maybe it was striker. Maybe it was that striker. Yeah. No, it was goalie. It was the fact that Roman wasn't playing. And that was got me to make that post on Facebook, and I said, we're in danger. Like, I did the Ralph Wiggum's chuckle, we're in danger. And because we were, and it played out. Yeah. But you brought up a good point. Why were we so heavy rotated, especially Berkey not playing?
Well, one thing I'll say about Berkey is he didn't play last time when we went up to Vancouver. So this has obviously got to be a turf issue. He probably doesn't want to play on turf. And can you blame him? Like, there's some people who are going to say, well, this is your team. You need to always play for your team. But let's face it, this is also about your personal career too.
Right.
If your company, whatever you guys work for, was going to put you into danger and potentially you weren't able to carry out your career forever, would you do it? Of course not.
No.
Right? Like, a soccer player who gets a career-ending injury, they don't make any more income related to soccer.
Right.
It's just not worth it, especially when they're going to throw out the kindergarten lineup like they did.
Yeah. Well, and also it's like, it's not even your career. Like, when he's done playing soccer in a couple of years, he's going to have to walk around. He's going to have to pick up his kids. He's going to have to go upstairs. And if you blew out your knee on this carpet, it's going to be hard to do that for his life. So I don't blame him one damn bit. I don't blame any of these players for not wanting to play on turf. And the fact that it's 2024 and players are still having to make this decision it's just an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. And you look at the turf, and it looks like where the Battlehawks play. It looks awful out there. And it's just like, what are we doing? Like, why are we making these guys that this is the Premier League in the USA play on this trash? It doesn't make sense. And I don't blame him, again, for 1 second for not wanting to play. Although we got Ben Lunt in the process, so I guess I can blame him a little bit. But
yeah. So just overall, what was your quick takeaways from this game? After the game, final whistle hit, what were you feeling?
Oh, well, loaded question. I think after the game, I felt, well, there's another loss. But if we're going to go like that route, like, I do feel like I am excited about the future. Like, right now, this crew isn't complete. It doesn't really feel like it's ready, but we still scored 3 goals against an MLS team with the majority of our players either not being full-time starters on this team or actually coming up from our development league. I was really happy about looking at eye test about Klein. I was pretty happy with how Klein played. I wish we would have seen Reed, but I know we're running out of spots for him to be able to play. Still not confident about Ben Lunt. I watched him last year, City 2, not that happy about him. There is a big drop-off from Berkey to him. Durkin's still my boy. I love watching this man. He is just a tank out there on the field, just a tank. And then putting Nervinsky and Markanek in not their position really didn't work out for us. So, yeah, those are my quick thoughts. What were your thoughts when the final whistle blew and it was all over?
Yeah, just to tag on to what you just finished with, I kind of agree. Like, they really didn't have moves that they could make, right? Because our center backs were out. I think Wenzel was out of options at that point. So like you had to put somebody back there, and they put people who had some experience there. It just didn't feel right. And I agree with Lont too. It it was kind of a disappointment. I felt like I think it was the third goal or was it the fourth goal where I thought he should have at least had a chance.
Yeah.
I don't think he was screened. I think if it was Berkey, that ball was likely, not guaranteed, but likely to be saved. So that easily could have been a draw had Berkey been in there. The other thing is disappointment just overall is with like Mechanic. You had brought up pre-production today about our first goal and potentially getting overturned because of Mechanic's, how can I put
Antics.
it? Shenanigans. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
it seemed unnecessary.
Yeah, it was dumb. And that's the only reason why that goal was being reviewed is because he decided to shove a guy down in the goal box. And luckily, we were with a good VAR team and a good center ref, and they didn't overturn that. Not like that call last week that we don't need to discuss anymore, however. But the fact that he almost cost us that goal was garbage. But then, like I said it before, he is the Sour Patch Kids version of an MLS player, where he made that really boneheaded move. And then there were two goals that he actually got in the way of and blocked and stopped them from coming in. So, like, I'm thinking also maybe in a next season, 2 seasons from now, this young man is going to be a really good left back. He's just so emotional right now. The man needs a psychologist like all time. Maybe in the earpiece, like, calm down, bro. Like, he just really needs to mature. And I really think he's gonna do well. There's a reason why he's on this team. He's got good skills. It's just he gets in his head too much. I don't know.
That is true. And he does seem like he tends to worsen as the game goes on, and maybe that's part of it.
My dude pouts all the time.
The other thing that I actually noticed, and everybody noticed, is the first, about 15, 20 minutes, I was like, holy crap, like, we felt like we had an attack going on. Looking back at it, was it that we were actually fluent in our attack, or was it that just Vancouver was disorganized, maybe didn't know what to expect or what? But the one thing that you kind of noticed early on is it did seem like people were rushing into the box.
Yeah.
While you had some crosses going in, and it looked and felt good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as time went on, it seemed like we did more of the Hail Mary long ball passes, like to Thor, where like Thor would have to try to beat, let's say, two people. And just like with the NFL, if you throw a Hail Mary pass and your receiver's double covered, what's the chance of them actually doing anything? Right. Not much. So I felt like we started to give it up once we moved to that tactic. Maybe it was because we were starting to get shut down. I don't know. But that was a huge part of this game for sure.
Yeah. I think that we scored in the 7th minute on Bloom, and then 4 minutes later, we got that PK. So like that goal by Bloom, it felt like a good run of action type goal where they with the right positioning, they were in the right spot. It was a good rebound, and then Bloom just put it on. It just, I don't know, it might have been with his left foot, just put a laser on it. It felt good. And then we got the PK with the handball, and it could be questionable, but we still got it. And Leuven put in the basket, and that was good. But then like after that, just kind of shut down, and we didn't really have that many good shots. So like first 12 minutes of the game, really great. And it's just like, and I commented to you, now we have to hold it. Now we have to hold the line. We have to play good. And while Lunt had 3 good saves in that game, he had one where he had to extend out. It looked really good. I'm not going to give him any more credit because those 4 goals he gave up, the first one was a deflection. Couldn't do anything about it. The other 3 are on him. The other 3, a really good goalie could have made those stops. And he didn't. That last one where we went down 4-3, 4-2, he was way out of position to me. He was way out of his box. He didn't have time to recover. He would have been back a little bit. He probably could have leapt up like Berkey, like Spider-Moy, and made that save. But he didn't because it's just not his style. He's so big. He's like 6'6". He's a giant. And so he may not be able to move that well because he's so big. But he did not make those saves. The first one was a fluke. I'll give it to you. That third goal by White, where he kicked the ball with his heel and went over his head. At first, it looked like it was an accident, but the MLS crew showed it that he knew that ball was there, and he blooped it right over his head and just got over there. So like, yeah, I texted you that I thought the game had rhythm the first half. It really felt like that first half had a lot of a good rhythm. You mentioned really good passes, and this team it's like a first half, second half team, isn't it? It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde out there.
Yeah, I was honestly a little disappointed in the second half, especially when we were losing. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but what's one thing that a team does when they're up? They try to waste time. And here's where we actually missed someone like AZ or even Klaus, is that what Vancouver was doing is they were playing just like passing back and forth in the backfield. They were just passing back. They were wasting 30, 45 seconds, even sometimes up to 60 seconds, just passing back and forth. And guess what? We weren't pressuring them. We weren't pressing them. And we allowed them to waste all that time. If you guys didn't see that, go back and watch it because it's readily available. I guarantee you they probably wasted 7-8 minutes just doing that because we weren't pressing. And I know everybody's like, I can't believe you mentioned AZ or Klaus, the two evil people on this team. But that was something huge. And honestly, I'm kind of ticked off at the coaching staff that they didn't tell these guys to press. And that comes to one of our favorite guys, Thor, who was up on top. But we'll come back to him in a second. But when Kojima came on, I didn't really see as much from him. He didn't really impact the game. Sometimes, like when subs come on, you could see a drastic difference in the game. I didn't see that.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. There really wasn't a change of pace with the subs because Glover's a really big guy. And there really wasn't. Yeah, I think that's the thing we're going to miss with AZ. You can hang me by my own petard. I don't care. But when AZ comes on, he is fast. He can pass. He can move. Yes, he collapses in the box, but who cares? He can waste time. He can draw fouls. We're going to miss this cat. But you're right. When these guys came on, Glover did fine. He was a good replacement back there. But like Kojima, I mean, he tried, but he couldn't really do much. But there really wasn't any pizzazz, if you will, when we had the sub. We only had 2 subs. So, I mean, there's plenty of legs. But yeah. Yeah.
So I think we have to talk about Thor. Thor is somewhat of a controversial figure. Most of the fan base hates him right now, but there's people like Matt Baker who actually feels that Thor is doing better. And I'm going to read you Matt Baker's tweet here. He had said earlier today, Thorson's game this week, 1 goal, and this was City's only goal in open play, 5 shots, team only had 9 total, and 7 duels won. He led the match. And he also mentioned, just for FYI, Carnell said before that he performed in training and just needed some game time. Now with both, we're seeing the Thor we've wanted to. Okay, Steve, what do you think about this?
I don't know. I think Matt might be trying to be positive because of the fact that Thor wasn't absolute hot garbage. And by the way, for the next couple of weeks, at least the next 6 weeks, he's what we got. And if it's what we got, we probably should start to look at the positives. But I'm not about to come around and say that Thor is an amazing player and I can't wait to watch him develop. I'm just not, because he had a goal last night in garbage time. He had a pretty solid first half, but I don't feel his second half he did anything. He has some shots, but like, okay, Phil Klaus has shots and we're pretty much trying to run him out on the rail. But yeah, I'm not. If he continues to improve in a couple of weeks, you and I are probably going to come back and say it's been good. But I wasn't excited with any shots he put on. Just because he had shots doesn't mean that they were high quality. And I don't remember what his passing was like last night. But yeah, he's not a guy that I'm willing to defend yet. I'll say that. What about you?
Yeah, so I think with Thor, he's one of those guys that seems like he gets the ball a lot. Now he's playing as a true like striker forward. He's getting to places he needs to get to. And he definitely contrasts with Klaus because Klaus does play that false nine and plays a little bit more deep towards the midfield, where Thorson is going towards goal. So I do like that about him. He does get the ball quite a bit. He does seem to be where he needs to be. But the one thing is his stats lie sometimes. Stats don't always show the whole picture. Now, my eye test for this game and the past few games, like anytime he's come in, he always seems like he gets the ball a lot. But the problem is he doesn't typically finish. It's almost like he knows how to receive it, but then once he has it, it just dies there.
Yeah.
Like go back and look at all his games. I wish there was a way you could on MLS TV just kind of go back on the player and look at all their attacks. And what you're going to find is a lot of times it just dies there and there's no fancy moves. The one thing I will say is that if you compare him and Klaus, that's where Klaus actually has some of that natural athletic ability to make moves like that to actually score.
Yeah.
Now, if I could combine the two and get Klaus to do what Thor's doing, oh my gosh, this guy would be tearing up the Thor Klaus hybrid.
Right.
Would be absolutely tearing up this league, in my opinion.
Thor.
I'm not too high on Thor yet. I could be wrong. You could be wrong. We all could be wrong. And Thor may start tearing it up once he actually gets some time. Because let's face it, practice is one thing, but actual real game time can sometimes change a player. We see this all the time in professional sports. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for.
You know, and I'm looking at his scoring for this season. And yeah, this was his highest rated game of the season. He played for the full 90 with a 7.5. But so he played 83 against Atlanta and had a 5.9. He played 70 against Dallas, had a 6.9. Yeah, it's a little bit higher than it has been, but he's probably going to come back down. That's goal he scored, without a doubt, pushed that up. Without a doubt, it pushed up his rating. So if he doesn't score that goal when they just weren't worried about it, is he still at like 6.8, 6.5? Like, where is he if he doesn't score that goal? And so, like, are we ready to hail Thor as the next coming of Klaus? No. Is he going to work for the next 3 weeks until the transfer window opens and we get these new strikers coming in? Yeah. Do we have high expectations for him? Absolutely not. He plays, we place San Jose next, and they're a abysmal team, but they're only like 6-8 points behind us. So like, okay, are we going
yes, to? Are we?
Yeah, are we going to see a big explosion from him? I hope so. I am not excited about Thor. Let's just say that right now.
Well, this kind of actually brings us to our next two segments here. I kind of did my own math, and you could see definitely across Facebook and Reddit of other people who've done their math. So if I'm correct, we have 14 games left, and we're currently sitting at 19 points, which sounds crazy, to be honest. Only 19 points. In general, if you look at the past 2 years between the two conferences, in general, you need somewhere in the low 40s, point-wise, to make it to that ninth spot to get into the playoffs. So I'm talking about like 42, 43, 44 points, something like that. I'm going to make the assumption that you need 42 points. So that means we need 23 more points to get to that 42 level. Now, the thing is sometimes things change. It could be a fluke year where actually the ninth spot might actually require 46 points, or maybe only 40. But I'm just going to take the lower end of that range just to see what our hopes and dreams may need to be. 42 points. What does that mean for our next 14 games? There's a couple possibilities. I'm going to put the most number of wins possible, and then also the lowest number of wins at a minimum that we need. Cool. So the most wins, if we just had wins and no draws, we would need 8 wins out of the next 14 games. And here's the kicker. We don't have a lot of home games left. So 8 wins. Now, if we had 7 wins, we would have to get 2 draws, and then we would hit that 42 points. You're going to say, well, what if we mostly draw? Because we're pretty good at drawing.
What if we
What would
mostly
we
draw
need?
because we're pretty good at drawing? What will we need?
Yeah, thank you. So we would need 5 wins still, and then we would need to draw 8 games, which
Oh my
means that we
God.
could. That means we could only lose 1 game in that case. We have a path
Yeah.
here, but we would actually need to do a lot of winning. At a
Right.
bare minimum, we really need to win 5 of the next 14 games. So it means a third of the games, and then we would have to draw basically every other game out.
Right. You
Oof,
know,
that
I'm
sounds
not that
tough, but not
yeah,
impossible.
I'm not that excited about that because we're at that point of the season where we're calculating wins losses in order to make the playoffs. And what we're not also what then we have to also calculate in is the other teams around us. Like, what if they go on a streak? What if they get cold? And now we have to worry about what other teams are doing. But you know what? 5 wins, 5 to 8 wins to make the playoffs. Why is it not doable? Especially since we've got some guys coming in July, and possibly have on back by September, possibly have Kloss back by then as well. So like our team could be complete, but realistically, we should look week to week and just hope to win that. If we keep our focus on making the playoffs at this point of this season, man, we're gonna have to invest in some Pepto Bismol, or we're gonna have to just like get ready because it's going to be rough. I mean, at this point in the season, over half the season's over. 19 points, not great, but it's sports. It's in the big thing is just sports.
So we've heard a lot of people say, well, we're only in our second year and stuff like that. We have the Leagues Cup coming up. Now, most of us don't care about the Leagues Cup. There's a lot of ick with the Leagues Cup, with the Open Cup drama earlier this year. But there's a lot of teams in our position where they would say, well, we feel like the playoffs are kind of out of reach and we want to try to get some kind of hardware. The problem is if you go for the hardware, that basically means that you're giving a lot of your top players a lot of playing time,
right?
Which means they're not getting the rest for the last third of the season. So it's actually going to be interesting. Do we chase hardware, or do we just like not care much about the early August Leagues Cup and try to play for the second half? What I would say is that with the 2 new guys coming in right now, technically Hartel's not been announced, but it sounds like he's gonna be announced. We'll see. And then we have Toyer that definitely coming in. The Leagues Cup might actually be a good chance for these guys to come in quote unquote meaningless games and actually start to get used to our system. So at least that's one bonus about the Leagues Cup. But anyways, I digress. Steve, do you have any thoughts on that and our second year in existence and expectations? Oh man, this is such a lot of baggage thrown on you, man.
Right. So for the Leagues Cup, I do think that having these new guys come in is a good way to expose them. I have to look at this year like Miami did last year with Messi and Suarez and those guys coming in, where they didn't get here till the break. This is what these guys are coming. And they use the Leagues Cup as a way to say it's a coming out party. And let's go ahead and do that. Let's use these guys as a way to say this is what we are going to be showing you guys for the next several years, because we've got these guys locked down for a couple seasons. And then the rest of the season the chips will lay where they are. But I think if we let these guys come in and kind of let them blow up the league so we can show everyone this is where we are. Like, yes, I think we don't aim to win the Leagues Cup, but we aim to compete with this new talent we have coming in. And then we look forward to next season. But I think for the Leagues Cup, let's do that. Let's use these freshmen. Let's use this Australian kid that is an angry young player that wants to come over here now. And he's in not even the heart of his career. He's at the very beginning of his career. And let's go ahead and just blow everyone out of the water for a couple games. And if we bow out after 2 matches, fine. But last year we won 1 game in one of these other cups with the Open Cup and the Leagues Cup, and we bowed out really early. Well, let's win 2 games. Let's get some success under our boots with this stuff, because we've got Dallas coming in and we've got FC Suarez, I think is who we have coming in first. and let's win both of those and then move on. And if we don't, that's fine. But I think we'll put on a good showing, and that's all we care about. And by the way, second league in the second year in the season, let's get some perspective. Again, we had a great first season. This is going to be a long haul. Think of like FC Cincinnati, they won the spoon their first year. And then they came back and they almost won the championship, and they're a solid team. So let's not think that we deserve to win anything. Let's just be excited still that we have a team and we get to talk about it. We get to go downtown, beautiful park, and get to experience all this jazz. So that's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like let's have some perspective. And the other thing is, and we mentioned this in a podcast before, is that unfortunately our windows are kind of opposite of the rest of the world. Right. So this summer window is when most of the big splashes are made. And this is preseason or like before the season for most other countries. So unfortunately for us, it's in the second half, if not in the past the second third of our season. So like when we make big splashes, it has to be at the tail end of the season. So anyways, we have a new game. We've kind of been playing this before. We're calling this goal or no goal. Essentially, what we're going to do is we look at everybody's responses on Reddit, Facebook, and we're going to say, hey, goal or no goal? Do we agree with you guys, or do we think that was a really bad attempt? So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to read them off. Steve is going to answer. I'll give my quick answer. And then in your head, think about what you would say. Okay, you ready, Steve? Goal or no goal? Snarf 12 said, honestly.
All right, Snarf. Let's hear this hot take.
Yeah, Snarf 12, goal or no goal on his username. Honestly, better result than I was expecting at the beginning of the game, given the lineup. Another brutal loss of points, though. It really is do or die on Wednesday. So goal or no goal, especially on that do or die next Wednesday.
Okay. For the season, yes, it's a goal. For the first part where he said it was a better than I expected, no, I didn't expect to win. I didn't expect us to have a good showing. But I would say a goal, it has to be do or die because the stat that you showed, the numbers, we have to win. We have to win. And if we have to start winning right now, we have to start doing it against a team that is the worst in the league. We have to make a point. We have to make a stand, and we have to show off. So, yes, goal.
Yeah, I think on the last sentence, it really is do or die on Wednesday. I'm going to say no goal, just because we've looked at some analysis that said we can take some losses, but it is starting to have a lot of pressure that we do need to start winning. So I would say it was close. I would say it was almost a goal, but, hit the frame on that one. But Fort Collins dude said, yes, it's a loss, but it had a different feel with half our starters out, playing with the patch-up lineup on concrete, aka the turf. we scored 3 goals, and there was life out there. We had some good builds, some real moments on defense, and kept fighting. It isn't nothing. It matters. This wasn't a blowout loss. We have 3 points there for the taking on Wednesday. If City plays the same on Wednesday, City takes those 3 points. Now, he said more stuff, but especially that last part, do you think if we played the same that we're going to somehow roll over San Jose?
So I don't think it feels different. I don't think that this was an amazing loss, or if it turned into a draw. Think about that game against Miami. How good of a vibe did we get from that game? Think about the game against Kansas City where we drew there. How awesome that felt. So no, I don't think that this was had a different vibe to it. We scored 1 run of play goal at the very beginning of the game, and we had a PK, and that was it. It's not like we scored amazing goals to keep ourselves in the game. We gave up 4 goals unanswered. 4. So no, I'm not excited. I don't think that we should take anything of this game other than we had a heavily rotated game on turf. So no goal for me. However,
I would say his writing and just overall thought process, like, critical thinking, I would give him a goal. However, I would agree with you on no goal. I don't think that if we play like this, that we're somehow going to win against San Jose.
Right.
Just because they're a bad team. Well, guess what? We're also a bad team too.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it's an even fight. I think we need better than what we saw. If we play like the first 20 minutes, sure, we're going to win, but not like what we did in the second half. Okay. So the next one is Fly Penguin. It basically said, bruh, when did match threads get so toxic? We're on the lowest salary team in the league with half our payroll on the injury report. We got to bring expectations back down to earth. And then for some other people, they were saying, self-inflicted wounds, packed house, owners are worth millions. There's no reason the payroll needs to be the lowest in the league. And essentially, there was a lot of debate about payroll and how this team isn't spending and how payroll matters. What do you think?
I'm going to say no goal on any complaining about the payroll. I'm going to say no goal because we're bringing in guys from overseas that we're going to have to pay. We've beat this dead horse. It's a brand new team. They have debt they have to pay off, and then we can see what happens. So stop complaining about the payroll. I know. I hate it. That's so no goal there.
I think this is Cardinals fans who are so used to what the Cardinals front office is doing. Guys, these guys are not like this. Like, we're literally bringing in another designated player. Toyer is going to be a great addition, and he doesn't even count as a designated player.
Right.
You're going to love this guy. I think he's going to do really well for us. Now, goal or no goal, we've got to bring our expectations back down to earth.
I think they're plummeting. I don't think that people should be thinking that we're going to get first again. I think at this point, people are starting to just complain about the playoffs. So the fact that we're talking about playoffs, Jim Mora, is the expectations coming down. I think we're seeing that. I don't think some fans are realizing that they're lowering their expectations, but when we start to see more of this, we have to make the playoffs talk. That is lowered expectations without even knowing it, without having that metacognition that you're thinking about lowered expectations. That's it right there for me.
Okay. So Daenerys basically said, attack was going great until we decided to switch to just launching the ball forward to Thor. The first 10 minutes, we had 3+ people in the box consistently, and then we started playing way back, and then we were trying to rely on Thor outrunning 2 defenders, which never came close to happening. It's the same strategy we've used all season, and it hasn't worked. Where's the build-up? And that's actually kind of something similar to I said earlier.
Yeah. And without looking at like the passing schemes, without looking at some of the other stats, it's hard to say if that's a goal or not. I mean, well written, sure. I'll give that person a goal for well thought out, a well concise tweet. But based on the facts, I'm going to say no goal because I didn't see that we were just dumping the ball off to Thor constantly. Hell, we weren't doing anything. So
yeah. I'm going to have to give a goal because there was quite a few times where it was basically a long ball to Thor, and it was just him fighting between 1 or 2 defenders, and we just had to hope it happened. So, yeah. Goal. Okay, you're going to love this one. So Dan Egan on Facebook had said, the team needs to do a Carnell Fit weekly feature on the merch site. Yes. They'd make more money off of me if I could find the stuff he's wearing on the sideline with one click. I'm digging the hoodie, but can't find it on the site.
I give that a goal. Yeah. I mean, he always does look tight. So there's some head coaches out there in t-shirts. I mean, the head coach from Vancouver had a pretty cool hoodie on last night too. So yeah, I think if the team were to lean into that, I mean, we're a young fan base. Let's go ahead and lean into like the coach fit type stuff. They do on their webs on the app. They show a little walk in for the players every week. But let's talk about Bradley. Let's give Brad a little love here. I like that.
Heck yeah. So last one. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
This is, I love following this account, right? Tim Parker's Bucket Hat on Twitter. So people calling for Luther Carnell to be fired need to step back and take a look at the positives. I hate soccer mindset that if a team doesn't do good for a few games, that people need to be fired. I take half a bad season for years of good seasons ahead. Goal or no goal?
Absolute goal. This is what we're saying, where we have to have perspective. Yes, this season is kind of a dud, but look at what we're looking forward to. If we don't have this season right now, we're probably not looking at Tuger and Hartel and this kid coming up from Australia. We're probably not looking at we got our eyes like we did last year, where we had an amazing first season. Why not change anything? Why change something right then? And now we're playing catch up, where now we can take an analytical look at the players we have, the roster changes, and do some turnover. I'll keep saying this is like a soft rebuild. This is absolutely what this looks like. And if we don't have this kind of a bummy season, we can't look at the future. So absolutely, Tim Parker's bucket hat guy, A-okay with that.
All right. For our next little game here, this is Coach for a Day. So Steve, we have a game coming up on Wednesday against a non-specified opponent. What would you do different for this upcoming game? Now, I know this is going to be a little hard because we have people who may or may not be hurt. We don't know who exactly is going to be on our team. Is it going to be another kindergarten lineup like what we saw, or is this going to be a little bit more real? Who knows? Obviously, Berkey's definitely going to be back,
right,
because of lack of turf and on grass. But what would you do, Mr. Coach?
I am looking at every single person, and if you've got legs and you can breathe and you are on our main squad, you're going out there. If your groin is a little tight, stretch that damn thing out. You're going to go play 90 and get us a win. I am throwing everyone out there that has gotten a major league contract, and you are going to go out there and you're going to play your ass off. That's what I'm going to do. Unless you're on the injured list, you're out there and you are a main guy. If you've played on City 2 this year, other than Kojima, you are sitting, you can watch from the sideline. That's what I'm doing. What about you?
Yeah, man, it's tough because we just don't know what to expect, to be honest. I think what we need to do more than anything is reinforce the attack. I think if there's anything that plays towards our defense, I think we should just give it up. We have Berkey, who's one of the best goalies we have. Let him do his thing, right? We have a pretty good back line. Let them do their thing.
Yeah.
We don't need defensive formations. I think we need to go all offensive, to be honest.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that we're lacking? It's goal scoring. I would rather roll the dice and put pressure on the attack. So whether it's doing a 4-2-3-1, but really starting to push one of our, like Leuven, up towards the center midfield, maybe even a little bit higher, do that. Whatever it takes. Yeah, that's what I would do. And it's very non-specific, I get it, but I would rather risk the goals than not scoring. And no, just because we scored this past game, I am not going to count that, right? Like, to some extent, having penalty kicks is kind of lucky.
Yeah.
Right. Ball just happened to ricochet off the torso and hit the hand. That was one of our goals. The Thor goal, as you said, that was during garbage time. We had our first goal with Bloom. Okay, I give that to him. That was a pretty nice goal. So in my mind, we only really earned one goal, maybe 1.5 if we count the Thor goal. So I'm not too optimistic on our offense, and I think we need to push it.
I think we need to go to like a 4-3-3. Let's put the offense out there. Let's just do it the best we can. So I would say let's go to the 4-3-3. Let's see what happens. We're playing against a team that's got our goal differential is a -8. Their goal differential is a -25. So they give up goals like crazy. Let's make it rain. Let's make it rain.
Make it rain.
Hey guys, so let's go ahead and talk about where you can find us. We are all over social media. We are on Twitter. We're on Facebook. AJ and I are both on Facebook. He's on his BRB Fancast account, AJ. I'm on my BRB Fancast account, Steve. I'm also as May Zipper. You'll see me at times up there zipping around the websites. We also are on YouTube. You can find our videos there. However, we also are going to be having a website. We actually have a website now, and that website is brbfancast.weebly.com. And you'll be able to find all the links to our sites. You'll find our bios. You'll find we can do some blogs. You'll find that stuff there. So it'll be easier to contact with us. And you can drop us a message. If you want to join us on any of our fan casts, that's where you can find us. You can send us a message there. You can hit us up on Facebook as well. We want to have all that communication. We love doing polls. We do a poll each week. We do a fan poll. We do we're going to start doing a formation poll. We want to see what you guys think the team's going to run out with. So tomorrow or Tuesday, you're going to see a poll come out from me that says, what formation do you think we're going to run? And I want to know what we think. Also, I'm going to start researching our center refs every week. I want to know what to expect from our refs because that data is important to have. If we have a ref that calls a lot of yellows, calls a lot of fouls, is rough on certain teams, I think we should know that as fans so that we're not caught empty-handed when we see a some calls not go our way because it's good to have. So if you see some information from me come out about our ref for this week, it's because I love data. I want to know what to expect. So you're going to see that from me, and it's good to know. And that's only, it's just for data. We're not trying to say, let's go hunt this guy down. It's here's the guy that's going to be calling our match. AJ made a good point that players all scout the refs, the team scout the refs. Why not the fans? We can at least know the guy. So that way, the first time we see him, when we see him on Wednesday, it's not the first time we've seen his name. We know this person. We know what to expect from them. So you're going to see a lot of engagement from us, and that's we want to have feedback from you guys, and that helps us develop our show a little better. So a lot of new stuff coming out from the BRB universe. So awesome.
Okay. Well, on that note, Steve, I look forward to this game on Wednesday, and of course, we'll drop an episode late Wednesday night or Thursday, and then of course we have the Saturday game. So till then, go City.
All right, all for City, baby.